Coming up on the 7:30 hour, still tracking storms. The flash flood threat increasing in Fort Smith. The showers and storms still going on. The severe weather threat along and south of I-40 is much lower than it was earlier today. Still there, though, and still watching storms out around Clarksville in central Franklin County. Those tracking northeast. Supercell storms from Mount Ida back down through Hot Springs. Those moving out of Oz, south of Fort Smith, moving out of the area. West of Fort Smith, we are tracking a severe thunderstorm, but the risk of severe weather continues to diminish as we head into the overnight. And I really feel like in the next couple of hours, you're really going to see the storm threat shift more and more southeast. So it's not an all night type thing for us. We do have, unfortunately, some more stuff moving into Fort Smith, though. No. We don't need any more. Well, we do need the rain. We just don't need it right all over the city at one time, which is why we're seeing that flash flood warning that's in effect. So let's get to it. Here's what's going on with the radar. Showers and storms are still underway out across parts of the river valley from Fort Smith out towards Keota. These are going to continue trending and tracking towards the southeast. I think overall the storm threat here should start diminishing with time. So hopefully as we go through the next several hours, we start seeing a decrease in the storms and the overall risk of severe weather coming down as compared to what we saw earlier. Let's see, this flash flood warning, let me read you this real quick. This goes till 10 o'clock. The Weather Service on this saying 1 to 2 inches of rain's fallen. We may see another inch and a half of rain with that cell that's moving in. So with all that stuff moving in, yeah, flash flooding is going to be a problem. If you're headed in Fort Smith or headed out, just be aware of that. This cell was the one that was rotating earlier. The rotation has fallen off, thank goodness. Let's see what the hail looks like here. We got some hail in it, though. It's about quarter size or larger, and it's tracking east-northeast up towards Pecola and Spiro. There's another look at it as it moves through McCurtain and moves up towards Fort Smith. Actually, that was the first round. Geez. We're getting training on these, and that's why that flash flood warning has been issued here for the Fort Smith region. You got storms everywhere. What you don't have are any big storms in Bentonville or Rogers. We've cleared out quite a bit, which is nice. There is a little bit of lingering rainfall with those upper level winds that are starting to push a little sprinkles in. You can see them right here. We may get a little bit of sprinkles in Fayetteville, so the rain chances are not zero, but the severe chances are pretty much zero for Fayetteville and Bentonville. We're still ongoing. I mean, it looks like a full-blown mess out there here in parts of the river valley from Fort Smith to Russellville. A lot of scattered showers and storms out there. Several tornado reports throughout the day. I think the threat should shift southeast, but there are still some tornadoes that are going on out there, out around Atoka. Those are moving northeast, so that stuff could get into southern Leflore County later. Doesn't look like it's as big of a threat as it was earlier, but this area right here in central and south Arkansas and west central Arkansas really has the chance of seeing some more thunderstorms later this evening. This is all disorganized, and when you have disorganized storms, you really can't get those updrafts to be established like you'd want them. If you can get the updrafts established, then you get the tornadoes. So I'm not saying tornado risk is zero. I'm just saying it's a lot lower than it was, and it's not high right now, and I don't think it's going to be high the rest of the night for I-40 North. Generally, where I'm covering Oz weather from Bella Vista to Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, and Fort Smith. But I put and beyond on the open because why not, right? We can cover a bunch of different storms all over the place. So that's what I'm doing now, and just watching some of these storms out around Mount Ida. That's going to be that thing's wrapped up. I'm surprised they don't have a tornado warning on that. Actually, they may actually put one on it. Did it look like that on the last scan? Eesh. Yeah, it did. Oh, that thing's going, huh? That's Mount Ida moving northeast. So that's headed towards Lake Washita. That lake house out there? No, this thing's coming right towards you. It's going to have huge hail. These storms will have the huge hail, probably the up to baseball grapefruit size hail, like what we saw earlier. Oh, by the way, too, I put on Facebook whether you have any damage pictures or any hail pictures. So if you want to pull those or post those on there, I'll get some of those in the morning forecast. Plus, it's just kind of cool to see what else is going on in the area. I was kind of surprised just seeing some of your hail pictures from storms that didn't look like they had a lot of hail, and then some of the massive storms, some of the massive hailstones from places we knew we were getting hail. Man, some of those things that was a lot of hail. That was a lot of hail. Some of that big hail too. So that's ongoing now. All right, so let's see. Let's see what's happening now out across the area as far as the radar goes. There we are. So you got that storm near Mount Ida that's tracking northeast. It does have what we call a tornado vortex signature, a TVS on it. That's 45 knot inbound, 45 knot outbound. This is essentially a computer algorithm that fires this, so it's not somebody saying, "Oh, there's a tornado." It's not like that, but it does show you the depth of it, and that mesocyclone goes up quite a bit, um, well up over 8,000 feet. So it's a prolific hail producer here. I still think probably get some kind of probably some tornado warning on that. I don't know. We'll see what the Weather Service in Little Rock decides to do. But it would not surprise me at all to see something like that pop up on this. Fort Smith just had a flood report. What is this? Let's see. What does this say here? Oh, Towson Avenue closed due to flooding from Louisville Street to Phoenix Avenue. So yeah, Towson's closed. Told you that place. That's out around Mill Creek. That thing floods all the time. Guys, we're getting more rain out of it though. Like all this red blob is coming into Fort Smith. So if you're out and about this evening, be real careful in the Fort Smith area, just because there's going to be some flooded roadways. It's flooding now. It's probably going to get a little worse here by the time 9 o'clock rolls around. But yeah, be careful out there with the flooding. There's quite a bit of flooding that's going on in Fort Smith for right now. Taking a little jog elsewhere. I know we focus in on the strong storms the most. These storms are not severe around Harmony and around Clarksville, Coal Hill. They're not severe. They do have some hail within them though. Some small hail, probably pea size ish or so. Then heading back down to the south around Paris, we have some thunderstorms that are moving through. These are moving west to east down 22. And then you have some in Mulberry that are just west of Cecil. Hail on this is less than quarter size. So the thing about the Weather Service, so they issue warnings on two things. First is going to be wind gusts 58 miles an hour over. 58, I don't know why. Someone just thought, you know what, 60 is too high. Let's do 58. I really have no idea why. Maybe I'll ask the Weather Service sometime. I'm supposed to meet with them here soon in Tulsa. So 58 mile an hour winds or quarter size hail. So if it's quarter size, you get a severe thunderstorm warning. The other criteria is, of course, a tornado. If that happens, they typically won't issue the severe thunderstorm warning. They'll issue the tornado warning. So even though you guys are seeing all this angry red that's out there, none of this stuff that's out there is causing severe weather. So no quarter size hail, no winds to 58 miles an hour. I say that there's somebody out there is probably getting quarter size hail, probably right around Harmony too. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's not happening. It's just not the most common thing with these storms that are out there. But these severe storms farther to the south really mean business. These are strong. That Mount Ida one is nasty. I mean, it's nasty. That thing is hooked up. It's wrapped up. Geez. If you're in Odin or Mount Ida watching this, I'd probably think about getting in my safe spot real soon, especially Odin. Mount Ida, maybe not so much, but heading out towards Mountain Pine, Hot Springs, that area, there's a good chance we're going to be looking at some rotation moving through. And if not a tornado, an incredible amount of hail with this in southwest Arkansas. The storms locally, though, are just kind of blah. We do have this warning that's in effect here for we've got it for LaFleur and Haskell County. That thing's going to go, let's see, when do they expire this? Moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. They've got it going until 8 o'clock. I'm not sure if they're going to reissue it. Well, they might. We still have some big hail around Bacoshi and Panama, right in here. Some really chunky hail coming down. I bet this is easily quarter to golf ball size here west of Panama near Shady Point. Now that's going to be on just west of 59 and southwest of Spiro. So we do have some hail that's moving northeast. Is that going to get into Fort Smith? I think it's going to move just south. It may get into Greenwood. Where'd it go? Here it comes. It might get into Greenwood if it holds together. Another thing that's working in our favor for storms now is daytime heating's gone, so the instability's coming down a little bit, which is good. It does get offset a little bit by the wind shear, though. When you get the wind shear, you're looking at a higher risk of seeing tornadoes as we head into the overnight hours. And we just got one. Let's see here. Tornado warning is going to be for that storm we were just talking about near Odin. We got a tornado warning here west of Mount Ida. Let's see what we've got on this. Weather Service has got a tornado warning on this, moving east at 10 miles west of Mount Ida, moving east at 25 miles an hour. The warning goes until 8:15. So yeah, tornado warning here out towards Mount Ida with that thunderstorm that's moving through. That's tracking eastward. and should be moving through here real quick out towards Odin. It's a real rural area, so it's going to be tougher to see this for these storms that are tracking in. But we do have a tornado warning here in southwest Arkansas out towards Mount Ida. I mentioned that earlier with that tornado vortex signature, those inbound to outbound winds really showing us what's happening with the wind field inside the storm. This one's also spinning out towards Hot Springs. That one's not nearly as wrapped up as this thing is. Matter of fact, let's look at this a little more, guys. How about let's look at the normalized rotation. Ooh, yeah, it's right there. And now let's check out correlation coefficient. This tells us if it's on the ground or not. And what I look for, and I kind of explained this earlier if you were watching the feed. So it everybody's got to have a fancy name for stuff. Correlation coefficient. I just call it CC because I'm lazy. But what happens is the radar beam, the dual pole, right? So the old radar used to sweep like this. Well, now it does this. It gets it vertical and horizontal. So you can see the particle. You can see whether it's whether it's a stick, it's a rock, it's a hailstone. You can tell what it is. And so the radar has been programmed to know what a raindrop is, what a snowflake is, what a hailstone is. When it sees something that it's not, something that's usually not a circle, that might be sticks, that might be debris. That's how we know the tornado's on the ground, because that stuff that's getting lofted up, it's getting sucked up into the radar beam, and the radar beam saying, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't anything meteorological. And matter of fact, technically they're called non-meteorological echoes or returns that we're seeing. So we watch that to know whether or not the tornado would be on the ground, and that's not what I'm seeing here. Of course, you'd have to get it up in the beam, and the beam height here is 4,000 feet? Yeah, so it'd have to get really high up. There's a new scan on that, but still not seeing anything. I wouldn't chance it, though. If you're out there around Sims or Odin, I'd get to a safe spot here in around Mount Ida. So you saw that, you saw the winds there, but then when you look at it here, there's really nothing spinning. That's good news for us in Fort Smith. The bad news is all the rain that we need is coming down at the same time. So we've got some heavy showers here that are going to train over Fort Smith, over that same area that just got hammered with rainfall. That's bad. So we're looking at a whole lot in the way of heavy rainfall in Fort Smith. This may be like 2 or 3 inches in some spots. I think the Weather Service had said that 2 had already fallen. Let me see the warning bulletin one more time. LaFleur County till 10 o'clock, looking at 1 to 2 inches have already fallen in Fort Smith. I haven't looked it up officially, but there is that chance of seeing those severe. Now we got a new severe thunderstorm warning, so this one's going to be for Pocola and Podo. That's on the storm that's located just to the west of Pocola, out around Panama. So I bet this is on hail too. Yep, there it is. That's that hailer. Radar showing about 1.5 inches. That's a little larger than quarter size. It could be a little bit bigger than that, just based on the returns I'm seeing. But this has been issued for hail, and that was that one we just mentioned a second ago that could track towards Greenwood. It's not a sure thing. I mean, it doesn't look. I can't say right now since it's like 40 miles away or so. That hey, yeah, we're gonna get hail in Greenwood. If I measure it, let's see. I'm just curious. Let's see. Place a marker here. Go out. It's actually about 23 miles west of Greenwood. Got a little ahead of myself on that. That's really the only hailer that's local to us. Oop, another flood report coming in. What do we got? Multiple intersections in the Fort Smith area are reportedly impassable due to flooding. This is coming from law enforcement, including North 10th, B, Towson, Fresno, Wheeler, South E, Wheeler, South B from Towson, Grand, North 16th, Skywood, North 50th. Good grief. A lot of streets flooded here in Fort Smith. Let's see what it looks like. I'll pull up some of the cameras here. The iDrive camera is interesting. This is the one in Fort Smith, looking over the Garrison Avenue Bridge here. You can see the lightning will be dancing off in the distance. Don't have any flooding here, but I'm just straight ahead down Towson Wheeler is where you got all that flooding going on. But on the north side of Fort Smith, things are actually a little calmer here on the northwest side. Southwest side, yeah, not so much. Still dealing with those storms and all that heavy rainfall. By the way, there will be more heavy rain coming into Garrison Avenue. Just looking at it on the radar now, it's west-northwest of Fort Smith, but some big street flooding. Man, that lightning strike. I wish I'd left the camera up. That was wild. Let me see if I can get another shot here for y'all. um, and see what it looks like here. So we have that flash flood warning in the Fort Smith area. Um, we have looks like we're getting. Do we just get another one? No, that was the one from earlier that went off. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning till 8:30 for LaFleur County. Um, let's see if we can get a camera pulled up for you guys so you can get a look at this stuff that's moving in. What a night! What a day it's been, huh? Um, Showers and storms still ongoing. The tornado threat lower. The hail risk is still high, not as high as it was earlier this evening, but it's still up. And the flash flood threat is up in Fort Smith. Most of the iDrive cameras are on streets, so it's a little challenging to see um, flooding from these cameras, but I ought to try. You never know what you're going to see, right? Let's take you to let's look at Grand Avenue real quick. There you go. That's looking north, so we're looking out towards the northern part, out towards Van Buren, maybe. Um, those heavy showers and storms are still causing flash flooding in Fort Smith. Be careful this evening. Flash flooding, it doesn't sound as bad as tornadoes or hail or wind or anything like that. Flash flooding actually takes more lives than any other weather event. So um, be cautious. Just be mindful if you're in Fort Smith and you're driving this evening, or you're planning on leaving the house, or you live in a flood-prone area, because it's not over. There's still more thunderstorms that are moving into Fort Smith. Granted, they're not all severe, but they all have heavy rainfall, and especially some of these storms like out towards Panama. That's really going. That's moving east northeast and is going to be affecting Pocola. We still have that storm around Greenwood too. That's up around Lavaca and Highway 22. That particular cell should be moving out towards Charleston eventually in due time. So we've got more on the way from central Arkansas, and that flash flooding is going to be a problem. We've got another flash flood here that's in central Arkansas. The terrain plays a big role there. And then around Mount Ida, remember that tornado warn cell? Let's see what we got. Oh, man, that thing's still wrapped up. There it is. Boy, it's right over Odin. Do we have any tornado debris in the beam? Let's see. As of right now, I don't think that this is still on the ground. It's right around Odin. Worth watching. Probably not on the ground at the moment, but something to keep an eye on with that particular storm. Fort Smith, though, man, we're getting heavy, heavy rainfall and flash flooding. More of those storms are going to come in towards Pocola, too. That's not going to be very far away. They'll be tracking in here shortly from the west. Let's see if I can pull up that iDrive cam that's out there on the border. There you go. All right, so this is a look from Pocola looking westward out towards Arcoma. This is a severe warn cell. The hail on it still pretty chunky here. I do think that hail misses this camera, so it goes just south of the casino and doesn't get right over us in Pocola, but it is going to be just to our south, as it moves through. We'll probably get a few more warnings out of this stuff tonight. There was a couple cloud to ground strikes that you guys just saw. Really prolific lightning producers this evening with the storms moving in, and torrential rainfall. Again, the rain, it's beneficial. Problem with the rain is we're getting it all at once. And once you get 2 or 3 inches all at once of rain, then you get flash flooding. So that's not cool. All right. Big view. This is where we're at now. We have these storms near Panama and Spiro, wind fields. I don't see damaging wind on this. I really feel like hail is going to be the main issue for the rest of the night, which, we'll take it. It's not tornadoes. It's still going to cause problems, but hail is probably going to be the bigger issue with these storms that move through. And I think we'll continue to see that here across Fort Smith and Van Buren, maybe even up towards Alma as well. I wonder if there are any iDrive cams out there around Mount Ida. Let's see. They had that one in Bowles. No, there doesn't look like there's one. A few near Dardanelle. Nah. Some cameras in Hot Springs, though. Let's see what's going on out at the racetrack. There's nothing going on. It's just raining. All right, so let's go back to normal radar image. There we go. So these are tracking east northeast. The low is actually over here, so that's why we're kind of getting this training effect going on, and I think that's going to continue to be the case in Fort Smith. I'm going to go ahead and move this radar around a little bit. Even though these storms aren't severe, I'm sure you're probably wondering what the heck's going on in Clarksville. So there's a look at it. The storms near Harmony and Clarksville are all moving north up through ozone. Another problem with this stuff at night is when you get flash flooding, it's really hard to see anything. So I think that the flash flood threat's still going to be a little high. And should continue. I was looking at Arkansas Storm Chaser, Zach Hall. Let me get his camera shot pulled back up. I've been chatting with Zach throughout the afternoon. Appreciate him letting us use the feed to take a look at what's going on where he is. Just past the Sonic though. You can always judge hail whether or not it's Sonic size. We all know what Sonic ice is. Sonic ice is the best ice. It's those little small ones. You can kind of just have them in your mouth for a while. Love them. They're great stuff. So Zach's out there not chasing the Sonic, but chasing the storms. And looks like he's found himself one. Not really sure where he's at. I need to stick a GPS on him, right? I don't think you'd like that. Maybe we can do the iPhone share thing, though. That could be fun. So these storms out around Coal Hill, Harmony, Clarksville, they're not an issue for us right now. They're loud. Dogs are upset. Kids are upset. But no big hail. Maybe some small hail here and there. No big winds either. Some gusty winds here and there. Lots of rain, lots of cloud to ground lightning. So this isn't a big factor for us. Let me check on this Mount Ida storm again, just looking to see. Let's see. Let's take another look at this. Normalized rotation right over Odin. Does it have? No, it doesn't. It doesn't appear to be on the ground though, so that's good. And it looks like it's getting more messy too. And that's kind of what we talked about earlier is just these storm interactions are kind of killing the tornado potential. You got to have them really isolated away from everything for that tornado potential to uptick. All right. So in west central Arkansas from Hartford back down through eastern Oklahoma and Podo and Heavener, still watching those storms. Got 2-inch hail report, 2.5 inch. That's up to golf ball size hail that's out near Panama. That's some big hail that's coming through. Look at that. Whoa. That's thankfully going to miss Fort Smith. Unfortunately, it's going to come up towards Pensacola and Cameron and maybe Greenwood, should it hold together. We'll see. But those storms are going to track west to east and move across the region here shortly. And you got a bunch of messy blobs here and there. Again, that's going to contaminate the atmosphere, which is good because the more interactions you have, the less chance you have of getting tornadoes, but the higher chance you still have of hail and also some damaging winds that are possible out there. Let's see, where's that hail? Big hail in Panama. 2.5 inches. It's coming down. And that's going to be moving from Fort Smith and south. Also, if you just join this feed, the flash flood warnings are in effect here for Fort Smith and most places just to the south. So just a heads up on that. They're going to be tracking east, northeast, and I think we're having that potential for more storms developing in southeast Oklahoma. Those storms will be moving across the region and giving us that chance of some strong storms both in northwest Arkansas as well as the River Valley. Those should weaken with time, but quite a bit going on as far as the hail and the damaging winds go here in parts of northwest Arkansas. Okay, so eastern Oklahoma for now. Then it gets into Arkansas, Lavaca, Greenwood. Looking at hail, that's guys. Look, if you zoom all the way out, what do you see? That one in Panama. Not the Van Halen song, and you guys know you do it too when you drive through Panama. That's all moving northeast. So Greenwood, Hackett, Hartford, Rock Island, Sugarloaf. Sugarloaf Lake, I think. Yeah. You'll be dealing with some showers and storms with it moving through. Again, that line's tracking east. The Weather Service has got this stuff east at 25. It's a slow crawl. So taking a look at where it is to the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line, if it's moving east at 20, it's 10 miles out. So 20 miles from now, 1 hour from now, this thing should be in Greenwood. So that's going to be coming up closer to about 9 o'clock. Again, the whole line's kind of shifting southeast too, though. So I think overall the risk is going to start coming down. But still ongoing, at least for eastern Oklahoma. Eastern Oklahoma with those storms that are out there. I'm going to see if we can find some more pictures in Fort Smith of what's going on here. And that's going back to the RDOT cam. Garrison Avenue Bridge looking towards down Garrison. A lot of reports of flash flooding across the area in Fort Smith. Be careful. There's more rain coming in. We need rain. The flooding is not great. And it doesn't look like we stop with the flooding. I think the flooding continues here for us. It is a wider view of what's going on here. The severe weather that's happened today has been happening across a good portion of the region, not only locally but also up to the north across Kansas City. There's just been a lot of storms this afternoon, and I think that the system, once it finally exits, you can see how it kind of kinks from. I mean, you've got tornado warnings. Let's just look at this, guys. You've got tornado warnings from Cleveland way up here to Columbus, to Indianapolis, to St. Louis, to Arkansas, and you had one earlier in Texas. So you've got storms quite literally from the Great Lakes to Dallas, all with tornado warnings. That's nuts. We've been somewhat fortunate locally. Those of you who had a huge hail earlier don't probably agree with that. But thankfully, we haven't had as bad of storms as we saw elsewhere across the country. Lots of wind damage here and there. We are dealing with all the rainfall, though, and that rain still continues here in Fort Smith as it tracks northeast, and some large hail out towards Panama, too. That's going to be moving in. Going back to the radar. There you go. Large hail in Fort Smith, more showers and storms. Kind of a breath, though, like a nice sigh that we don't have to deal with the tornado threat being as high. We're still playing with the hail threat. The flooding threat's gone up considerably, though, in Fort Smith. So be very cautious of that this evening. Flash flooding is not fun. What else is out there? That Mount Ida storm, boy, it looks sloppy now, doesn't it? It's still spinning, though. Let's see. Normalized rotation just moved over Odin. Do we have any debris? Doesn't look like it. Again, shooting high up in the storm, though, so it's tough to know for sure. These are going to continue tracking east-southeast. Here's another look. Look at them grow, too. Right around Podo. We hadn't had much in Podo, but we're going to catch some right there around Worcester. That's going to move northeast, so we're going to get a little bit more in Podo. There's another look at it. Washburn, heavy thunderstorm there. All this storm growth, though, is going to cause more flash flooding in Fort Smith. So we do have that severe thunderstorm warning, eastern Oklahoma. That goes until 8:30, so about another 30 minutes on that one. And then we've got, let's see, no more severe thunderstorms, I guess. The flash flood warning goes till 10 o'clock, so that's another couple hours. I got to put the kids in bed at 8, so we'll look at this for a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to keep an eye on it and post updates as necessary throughout the evening hours. And then I'll be back on tomorrow morning. What I typically will try to do is I get up early. I don't know why. It just happened as I got older. So I get up at around like 3:45 or 4, and I try to look at the weather and cut some video about 5 or so before I head to the gym. So I'll try to post a recap of this stuff tomorrow morning too, to kind of give you guys an idea of what's happening and what happened. There's also a link I put on Facebook, or I did a post. There's some baseball size hail. The hail sizes are just trippy when you see them. But if you have some damage or some hail, you can post those on there and share it with your neighbors and let them know what you're seeing too. It's always interesting, in our area. We're all kind of family anyway, in Arkansas. So it's interesting that when you start looking at different towns, I live in Rogers. My sister lives in the Fort Smith area. My mom lives in Bentonville. So it's we're all spread out across the area, and it's interesting to see what's happening with our friends and neighbors when we get these storms moving through. The biggest hail so far I've seen today locally was in northwest Benton County. That's a report. I haven't seen it, but was 4-inch hail, which is grapefruit size. And then that other picture that I posted on the Facebook earlier had baseball size hail on it. So it was some fairly significant hail that moved through a little bit earlier. Just taking a glance at what's going on. Go to radar. You don't want to look at me. Let's see here. I'm just looking through this. I may even try to pull one of these things up here. How about this? So Loretta sent this one in from Podo. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is. So that was in Podo earlier. She said just small ones. Man, that's small, but I bet it was loud. That's not really small. That's quarter size. What are you kidding? That's a strong storm. So that's some hail that fell in Poto a bit earlier. Let's see if I can find another one to show you guys here. Just kind of go through and look at these um, hailstones. Where was this? Angela sent this one in west of Spiro. Let me show you this thing. That's a big chunk of hail. Look at that. Yikes. Golf ball, you'd say? A little smaller than baseball size, golf ball. Man, you talk about damage to cars. That's not good. Roofs. Also, it's always a good idea to have your insurance agent at least send an adjuster out to look at it. A lot of times with hail, you can't see the damage that well, um, but they can see it when they look at it. Jason Partain sent this one in out from Spiro. Right there. There you go. It's a chunky hailstone, huh? 2-inch hail. It's golf ball size that was falling there. That was in Spiro. That's 3 miles west of Sunset Corner, is what he's telling me here. Let me see. There's another huge one. This was in Parks. Caitlin sent this one in. That's another huge hailstone. Can you imagine? Oh, I used to collect these things back in the day. Of course, you do a lot of weird stuff in your 20s. Um, but these hailstones are huge, and we typically see the largest hail in March and April. By the time you get in the summer months, the temperatures upstairs get a little bit warmer, and it's a little tougher to see it. To see large hail like this form. But this time of year, it's cold upstairs, and it's plenty cold enough to get some huge hail going on. Let's see if I can share some other ones with you here. Holy cow, this is crazy. Charlie sent this one in. As long as he's not pulling my leg. Pulling my leg? Let's see. He said his truck got hit by lightning near Boonville. That actually looks like a lightning strike. And, at least to me, that looks like a change of pants. That, good grief, man. Glad you're okay, Charlie. Yeah, these trucks act like a Faraday cage, but that's crazy, man. Let me go back to it. Do you guys see this? Look at that. Lightning hitting a vehicle. Probably fried his electronics too. Wow. Um, So you've seen the hail pictures. I haven't seen many wind damage pictures yet. Um, so far, I'm scrolling through right now, just looking and seeing there are a lot of hail pictures here. Um, Lots of hail, and that's a great shot there. Let's see if I can pull this one up for y'all. I'll have to go full screen. Danielle Sanders sent this one in. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, so it says live camera at the bottom, but it's not. With a loop of images there of the storms as they're moving in. Wild, huh? Another thing that kind of bothered me going into this event today was the what we call the lifting condensation level. The lower that is, the greater the possibility of getting tornadoes. Mainly because the tornadoes don't have to go that far to the ground before they start messing things up. Christy sent this shot in. Some of these hailstones dug into the ground. Good night. It's huge, man. Again, kind of going into it, felt like hail was going to be the issue, and it definitely turned out to be the biggest issue. If you're wondering about my son, he likes weather, but I'm sending him to bed because he's got school tomorrow. And if you're wondering, they actually dismissed or actually gave us the option to take our kids out of school today because of the severe weather threat. So I went and picked them up before I jumped on here. How about out around Needmore, Arkansas? This is from Carla Waddle. Woo! Big old hailstones. Good grief. Don't need more hail, that's for sure. Sorry, can't help it. What else we got here? Again, this is the post that I put um, on Facebook. Just trying to. Holy cow! These hailstones they were huge today. Let's look. Here's one. Harvey, Arkansas. Another one that's close to baseball size hail. Hail of a storm, huh? Let's see. I'll find a couple more, and then we'll do a little quick radar tour. And then I got to make the kids go to sleep. Otherwise, they're going to stay up all night. And then the mornings are terrible. So we'll see if they'll listen. Probably not. But in the meantime, we just got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Crawford and Sebastian County. So let's look at this thing here. Just popped up on the screen. So they did issue a new severe thunderstorm warning on this. The warning is for that cell near Pocola, and it's for that hail. The hail has come down, though. I think it was a lot heavier, a lot bigger earlier. right here. I think it might have been up to golf ball or baseball size here. Now, not so much. It's probably quarter to golf ball, with the majority being about dime. So I don't think it's as big of a risk. But the Weather Service did just issue new severe thunderstorm warning. Moving east at 30, they're saying winds gusting to 60 miles an hour. The storm's in effect till 8:45. So 8:45 this evening on that one. And again, that's for that storm in Pensacola. Problem with this, guys, is the flooding. I'm telling you, the flooding is a big problem here. Far and away, that as we get more rain in Fort Smith, those places that are really prone to flood, they're going to flood, and they're going to flood a lot. So be careful this evening. Tomorrow morning should be fine, but if you're headed out this evening, there's definitely that possibility of getting more, seeing more flash flooding that's out there. So since we have that storm, is it over Pensacola? It kind of looks like it. Let's see what's going on. Pensacola. Man, oh man, do we have a light show. Here you are. This is in the Pensacola area here, looking west. Let's see. As soon as I pulled it up, the lightning went away. It always does. Let's see. Come on, let's see a strike here. There's one, kind of. This is the storm that had hail on it that was larger. That's what prompted the Weather Service to issue that severe thunderstorm warning. So Fort Smith is under another severe thunderstorm warning right now for these showers and storms that are moving in. That's it here in Fort Smith and south out towards Pensacola. Let's zoom in here. There was a big lightning strike as soon as I took it off the camera. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that the weather gods are messing with me, but they're kind of messing with me. Pensacola West. Let's see. Yep, that's where the hail's come down on it. I feel a little better about that. It's just raining like crazy, though, on Rogers Avenue. Good night. Oh, man, Grand Avenue. It's coming down by the sheets, isn't it? Look at this. That's Grand, the RDOT cam there in Fort Smith. Let's see. I'm going to try another camera shot here. I'm going to pull up Rogers. Rogers has those street lights, so you can see the rain a little bit better. That's going to be looking north from Rogers. Lots of lightning here, too. Lightning, heavy rain. The hail risk isn't quite as high in this area. It's a little higher south of town, just south of the radar out there towards Zero Street. But still, rainy night for us, stormy night. And I think that continues to roll on here next couple of hours for parts of the River Valley, for Fort Smith, and then southward out towards Phoenix Avenue, Highway 71 south. Those storms are still pretty robust that are moving in and should continue here. It looks like the east side of town has it a little bit more. I'll take you out to Jenny Lynn's camera real quick. You can see the heavy showers that are out there. It's hard to see the flooding here just because there's not any city streets. The RDOT cams are mostly on the interstate, but I mean, you get the idea. There's flash flooding that's ongoing. So that's what's happening right now. Still watching the storms here. I think if you're wondering, hey, is it safe to go to sleep tonight? If you're in Northwest Arkansas, yeah, I wouldn't even worry about it. If you're in the Fort Smith area, if you're headed out this evening, I'd be concerned about flash flooding. Don't think there's a tornado threat in Fort Smith any longer. The atmosphere's worked over. There may be a hail risk, a small one, but I think for the most part, Fort Smith is not going to be dealing with anything else for big storms. And then out around Charleston, you get south of Fort Smith and you get just out of Oz and get into Boonville and Waldron. This is still kind of fair game for us. The number of storms means the interactions probably keep the tornado threat low, but I do think that the hail threat's still going to persist, and even some damaging winds could be possible from Pensacola and points south. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on here for the evening. I'll watch it for as it moves across the area, and then again, I mentioned this earlier, but tomorrow morning I'll do another weather update here. I've been trying to do those every morning. Truth be told, I usually go to bed about 8:30 or 9. I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, they were looking. It's just some comments saying about hot springs and a tornado. Yeah, that's the higher risk areas down here. Look at that. Yeah, you're right. Huh. Look at that thing. Let's see. Right there. Hot Springs Village. What about CC? I probably need to switch radars. 2.5-inch hail over in Jesseville. Yeah. They dropped the tornado warning on the Mount Ida storm, though. So that's nice. That's good to know, huh? Anyway, these storms will be tracking east northeast, and eventually moving out of the area, and we'll have some better weather for us tomorrow and some colder weather, and then it's going to freeze and our plants are going to be messed up. Great, right? Another severe thunderstorm warning. This one's coming out for Franklin County. It's this one here. And I bet you the criteria is hail. They've got it moving out towards Charleston, moving east at about 50 miles an hour. They've got quarter-size hail and winds to 60. So yeah, that's the cell right there. There it is. There's the hail. These little hail things are going to be possible this evening, guys. And just know that they're going to pulse. They're not going to be constant, and they're not supercells. These are not supercells. But the hail risk is still there, and I think that we'll have that hail problem for another couple hours or so. That warning goes till 8:45. I may have already said that. But that's the storm here. And then, Greenwood really hasn't been hit that hard yet. So when we get this stuff in Bacola moving in, the atmosphere may have a little bit to work with in Greenwood. So the hail threat may come back up too. And it looks like we had a little more rain start creeping up north to Fayetteville. But the whole system is essentially phasing east and southeast, and it'll be moving on out. So to sum it up, what we've been watching today, we had that front that moved through. We have showers and storms that are ongoing. Fort Smith still is under a flash flood warning until 10 o'clock with more rain moving in. The flooding is only going to get worse. The overall severe risk has diminished greatly, but there's still a risk of hail. The hail risk is going to continue probably up for another 2 or 3 hours before it finally moves on out towards the east and to the southeast. We'll get these little pulses of severe storms here and there, but I think overall the threat of severe weather as far as tornadoes and big-time damaging winds go, it's down. Number one threat now is hail. Number two threat is flash flooding. Number three would be wind. Number four would be tornado. So we've moved the tornado threat from just underneath hail to the very bottom, which is good. I don't think the tornado threat's that high. And I'm talking about here in our area from Mena to Fort Smith to Bentonville, Rogers, Fayetteville, Salisaw, Clarksville. Not really talking about central Arkansas because you guys in Little Rock, if you're watching from down there, you guys are still under the gun and will be through the overnight hours late tonight into the first part of the day for tomorrow. So in one more wide view of this before we sign off this evening here, you can see those showers and storms tracking in. Additional rain in Fort Smith, additional flash flooding. Be cautious as you head out tonight. Tomorrow, the weather does get a little bit better. I'll be trying to read all your comments. I appreciate everything. And again, thanks to my colleagues at F&B NWA and First National Bank of Fort Smith for letting me play with the Passion Project here and cover some storms that are out there. As a hobby, it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun talking to all you guys that I've known for so long as well. So I'll watch the storms here for the late evening hours, and I'll see you guys for the early risers back here bright and early tomorrow morning. I'll be posting on Facebook should anything start to break out during the overnights.